So, like many people at home, I was watching the Minnesota Timberwolves game, and it was awesome. It was great, right? They upset the Grizzlies. A real good feel good story for Minnesota. 2 games in a row where they've won their games, and but Cat played good in this game, but he played really really bad in the playing tournament game. Remember, there was almost a non-factor. He immediately got fouled out, and it had me thinking. We all experience windows in our lives where there's a high level of tolerance, right? A lot more wiggle room for flexibility and mistakes when you dipping your toes in something, starting something new. Like you start a new job, not only is it okay that you're going to make mistakes, it's expected. You're going to make mistakes. You graduate high school. If you want to take some time to yourself to go maybe figure out who you are, travel around the world, find your passion, I think that's awesome. Go right ahead. I love that stuff. Go you. I support that. But then after some time, the window starts to shrink, and we know when this happens. Maybe it's not okay that you're making the same mistakes 6 months after I've hired you. Maybe it's not that cool if you're in your early to late 30s and you still have just as little of an idea about what you want to do in life or who you are, like as when you're in high school. Because you're not in high school. Those people, they give me an ick. For cats, that window is starting to shrink. Guys, this was one game. And I give him props. I'm not taking away from him. He gave Jaren Jackson Jr. a lot of headaches. Ironically, he gave him his own taste of foul trouble. But this was also a game. Can we get this up? Anthony Edwards played terrific, right? Look at this. Jordan, the elite company of Magic Johnson and Tyler Hero for over 36 or more points in the playoffs before 2021. And I'm going to get on Edwards soon, but God, he is special. He's special. But when Towns fouled out in the playing game, like a lost rookie, in that Clippers game, and was bailed out by his teammates, that was not classic. That was more classic Cat than Game 1 showed. And if you want to make all your judgments based off a big TV spot where Cat played really, really well, an impressive playoff performance, and you go right ahead. I'm not saying he's bad, but for reference, I looked this up. Karl Anthony Towns has been fouled out of a game 5 times this season. He's had 5 fouls 14 times this season, and he's had 4 fouls 22 times, all in one season. Like this is who he is. This is a rap on Towns. Let's get this up, ready? This is a rap on Towns. Immense talent. He's the self-proclaimed best big man shooter ever. And it's completely crazy to think that. I've argued with other people about this. You throw Kevin Durant in that, it's a complete landslide, more than it already is, but whatever. He's going to be a third-team All-NBA player this year. I love his stat. He is the first player since Shaquille O'Neal, right? Since Shaq, the big diesel, to drop 60 points. The first center since Shaq, to score 60 points in a regular season game. So we know he can ball, right? But I think the second thing on Cat that, when it comes to my mind, is a little bit soft. It was rumored that one of the things that maybe drifted him and Jimmy Butler away was that maybe Towns didn't want to win quite badly enough, right? That he might have had that, what we call the first pick in the draft mentality. That can rub grinders who had to crawl and earn every minute, every roster spot. It can grind them off the wrong way. I mean, this is a real thing with many first overall picks. They tend to carry themselves in a way that they don't have anything to prove. Like they don't have to fit in with team customs. It's not all of them. It's not all of them. Anthony Edwards, he could not be further from this at all. He loves the pressure. He loves, but we saw it with Kyrie. We're seeing this with Zion increasingly. The same problems that Jimmy Butler and Ben Simmons, the first overall pick, had. Exact same problems with Towns and Butler. That Jimmy Butler was a guy, just who he is, he will get on your ass. And some people like that. Some people are not as comfortable with that unique approach from Jimmy Butler. Because this is the thing, first overall picks, they're like the pretty girl in high school, right? Everyone's a bit nice to them. Everyone maybe treats them a little bit better. Everyone's more their best selves around them, whether they admit it or not. And because everyone treats them so great, they can typically when things don't go their way, they can get a little bit sensitive. Okay, Towns is a guy who's been putting up big numbers in a small team for a long time. And he gets treated like a king in Minnesota. The problem is in that organization, it's on nobody's free agency radar. And the reason for that is, from an outsider's perspective, is because they don't win games, right? Which goes into the second knock on Cat is I don't think he quite knows how to win games for where he should, right? In that Clippers game, right? Not to keep going on about the play-in tournament, the referees are calling everything. They were calling everything. He was still running around like a bull in a china shop, like it was 90 street ball or whatever, jumping at people. Look, it put his team at a massive disadvantage. And again, he was lucky to be bailed out because that's what happened. He got saved by D'Lo and Edwards. But then in game one, right, the refs gave a lot of leeway. The Grizzlies didn't come out focused. The Wolves were hitting their threes. Nobody was moving around for Ja. So Ja just kept driving in relentlessly into the paint. It was just, it won't happen again. It won't. They're going to come out punching, right? Because this is a young series, and these are two of the youngest teams in the league, right? I just don't think as this continues, Cat's going to quite get it. So you can say he hasn't played in enough big games. And some of that's situational and some of it's not. Okay, he's had, I think, 4 coaches in 7 seasons now. He has never really had that strong, true point guard, fundamental point guard, playmaking point guard to set the ball up for Towns. Real point guard, right? Other than Ricky Rubio for the first 2 seasons of his career, but rookie and sophomore, that doesn't really count. He's never been part of a strong winning culture. He's never had that really strong, leading veteran around him for his career, like a David Robinson. He had Kevin Garnett for one lone short season. The point is, Minnesota is not exactly a jackpot for growing youth, right? But the other angle of that is that he's played with some good players. Levine, Wiggins, Butler. They were all all-stars this year. Towns couldn't make it work with any of them. He has lost 54 more games than he has won throughout his career. That matters. When he's playing in crunch, everything points to this. When he's playing in crunch time, you can see this year by year. His teams have routinely dipped. And that has to do a lot with because Karl Anthony Towns is not necessarily an alpha type of player. Extremely talented. Not the franchise guy for a team that can do much damage come playoff time. And you will see this in this playoff series. You will see this. The best case scenario is that Towns continues to dominate Jaren Jackson Jr. and Steven Adams like he should. And they still lose, but he plays very, very well. A good scenario is that the takeaway coming from the Grizzlies-Timberwolves game is the Timberwolves is now the Ant-Man clinic. Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, puts on a show. He naturally becomes the guy. He starts taking bigger shots. He gradually starts outscoring Cat like he did in Game 1. And we see a passing of the torch series. That would be awesome, right? That way, Timberwolves fans can enter the next season, leave the earlier one, knowing that they finally have an explosive, young, dynamic player who can shoot, who's arrived. That takes less criticism of Cat and shifts the focus on Ant, which I know he will love. But the most likely narrative that will be coming out of this series in Minnesota and Timberwolves Town is that Cat just plays okay for most of the game. He costs his team in one big moment. It'll happen one big time, one big moment where he's taking a bad shot, it's a bad closeout, it's foul trouble again, a bad pass, something in where we all say, oh my God, this guy's going to be 27 soon and this is who Cat will be his whole career. Ant-Man plays good, but not spectacular. And he doesn't save Towns. And when they lose, it's all on him. The hammer gets dropped on Towns like it probably should. Because obviously there was a lot riding on him this series. And it's time to prove who you are. People speculate, they do. We don't know. He hasn't shown us this stuff yet. You've got Anthony Edwards and you have D'Angelo Russell. I'm not a guy who gets impressed by the regular season. You've got the players. Oh, and we have a stat for D'Lo, I'm pretty sure. Yes. I don't know how much this stat means. He didn't play that great in Game 1, but it's an interesting stat. Look, Russell was the classic. He was very overrated early in his career, so people dismissed him, and now he's kind of underrated. It's very, very interesting. I'm not saying Russell won't have his own fair share of bonehead moves. He won't be close to holding Morant or Bane or Brooks. There'll be moments where the Grizzlies are on, they're down they're on 0-8. They're trying to come back, and then D'Angelo Russell's feeling himself, he's getting confident, and he just shoots it from way too far deep. But all the momentum is just stunted. That's gonna happen. But with supreme confidence, that just comes big moments, and also comes not so great moments. It comes moments like in that Clippers game where he carried and he saved the game, and other moments which we'll see in this series. The pieces are there for Cat, and it's time for him to prove. Like, tell you this, those Grizzlies, they're not just going to go down swinging. They are going to come back with a big punch, and it was one game. Let's see how Cat goes for the rest of the series.
3, 2, 1. Here we go!